Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Wright, I remember when you came before the committee, you said your mother was watching remotely, so in case she's watching, I wanted to make sure you got a good question. The bill that we've been talking about, the advance bill that Senator Whitehouse, Senator Carper, and I are on, among others, directs the NRC to consider options to enable the timely licenses of nuclear facilities at brownfield sites. This is where our state of West Virginia, I think, could really have some interesting prospects for retired conventional energy facilities. First of all, are you aware of that in the Advance Act? And what kind, can you give some examples at what states would be looking at if they were looking at retired power plants that might be perfect sites for these kinds of developments?
Senator, thank you for the question, and thank you for saying hello to Mom. I hope she's watching. So it's a real interesting time, and West Virginia is, trying to be a leader here, and looking at brownfield sites to put these plants at, right? There are some concerns and that the NRC needs to really take a hard look at to be sure, because if you're putting multiple units at one site, I would like to be sure and would be encouraging staff to look at whether or not an EIS is required for each one of these things, right? Because that would, I don't understand or I don't think that would be necessary. That might be a little bit overkill. But from a prudency standpoint, from a state regulator perspective, they're going to be looking at things that are a benefit to the ratepayer in the end, right? You've got access to transmission. You've got a site that's already been used before, so those are benefits to the ratepayers in the state. And whatever these uses are going to be for these different reactors could have additional benefits, right? Depending on whether you're in a vertically integrated state or a market state.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Crowell, do you have a comment on that?
Thank you, Rick. Senator Capito. I think the other thing that the NRC could do well to prepare for the eventuality of using brownfield sites is to start working now with the EPA to sort out where the jurisdictional lines are and the liabilities so that we can move quickly for approving reuse of such a site if we receive an application to do so. I don't think we want it to get stuck in an endless process of whose jurisdiction is whose, because the idea of reusing these sites is for expediency. So.
Right. No, I think that's an excellent point. I think we run into this in other kinds of permitting when there's overlapping jurisdiction, or not even overlapping, but maybe new jurisdictions that are unsure where one ends and where the other begins. So I would encourage the commission and the staff to begin those conversations, because that's the vision that I think us and other states probably have in terms of being able to be a player here, to be able to use this development. Thank you. Chairman Hansen, just one last question, slight beef here, that we had written a letter to you on the draft rule, or not the final rule establishing the emergency preparedness requirements, encouraging you all to make the decision. And we got 5 sentences back. It didn't really exude enthusiasm for what we were trying to say, or much information. So in the spirit of independence, openness, effectiveness, and clarity, which are your principles of good regulations and reliability, we've also received some questions from other in the stakeholder community where some of the responses have been lacking. So I would just ask you to review that role of openness to make sure that we're getting as good a communication as we possibly can.
Yeah, Senator, I apologize for the paucity of that response. It's certainly not our intention to provide those kinds of meager answers. Certainly, it's my intention in my interactions with the staff, and I know my commissioners share this, to share all the available information with the committee and with you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.